Welcome to another day in the Matrix. Waters above crypto. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations to start your week. We're getting some bullish price action in the market today as we set up to move into the holidays. So in today's video, I'm going to start out with a Gematria decode to go over some dates and a gem that I found coming up in just a couple days, and then move into the charts to share some technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Also, over the past couple weeks, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me about my courses to purchase as gifts for their friends or family for the holidays. So I decided to run a holiday sale, which goes live today, giving 20% off of both of my courses. So if you're interested, stick around through the intro and I'll share all that information in a moment. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow this community. And as you heard earlier, I'm currently running a sale for both of my courses for the holidays, the Mastermind course and the Advanced Trading course. So for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, there is a link in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below to my website, watersabovecrypto.com/redpill2021, and that link already has the discount automatically added to the price, so there's no promo code needed at checkout. All you'll need is the link and you'll be able to get my courses with the holiday discount included. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So we're going to start out with some date numerology and a little bit of a Gematria decode. And of course, I have that gem that I wanted to share with you guys that's coming up in just a couple days. Exciting stuff. So today is the winter solstice, which is 3 months and 14 days since Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year. And this 314, also 3.14, comes back to pi. Very important number sequence. And also we have this date numerology of 11, the master number, and just like Genesis starts the Bible with Genesis 1 verse 1 or 1:1, that's the 11 in the beginning. This beginning they speak of is just a restart of the architect's game, which runs on an infinite loop, the Ouroboros. Today is 15 weeks since Rosh Hashanah, and it is also 105 days. Now, this 15 number we've been talking about quite often because it's coming back to the new variant, which is not to be said, but you could see right here is the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet. So, again, today, 105 days, and in numerology, you're removing that 0, that comes back to 15, and it is 15 weeks since the start of the Hebrew New Year. So, it's very important because these 15s have been pretty much the most significant numbers since the start of Sagittarius, which we're coming to a conclusion very soon. Also, we are currently in the 51st week of the year, which is the mirror of 15. Today is Tuesday, or Martes, the day of Mars, and I'll show you really quickly Mars, again, coming back to the 51 and the 15, okay? Again, Tuesday, the day of Mars. We're in the 51st week of the year, and it all has to do with the 15s, okay? So, of course, today, out of all days, is the day that the USA will be addressing how they're going to handle this new variant. It's all in the code, guys. Again, today being the 105th day since the start of Shemitah, and you have the 15 weeks, and it is in the 51st week, and today being the day of Mars, 5115, it's all in the code, all right? So another important thing about today is that 74, date numerology, 12 plus 21 plus 20 plus 21, giving us the 74. And like we were talking about earlier with the architect when we mentioned Genesis, well, the architect's two favorite characters are Jesus, 74, and Lucifer, 74. And this is all about duality. Again, the 1-1 or the 11, like I was telling you earlier with this date numerology being 11. All right, the 1-1. This is about the Twin Towers. It's about the 1 plus 1 equals the new person. It's all about duality, and then we have that introduction of the third. So like in Genesis, we have Adam and Eve, and then the third being the serpent. All right. I hope all this makes sense, but this is very important for those of you that are becoming decoders that want to see how this all operates. Of course, like I mentioned before, 1 is that connection to source. That 11 is the connection to a higher source. And those of you that are learning about life path and, numerology and all this stuff, you probably have figured this out by now. But our 2 main characters in this game that we're all dealing with is the dark side and the light side. And that 74 is hilarious how it comes back to these 2 main players in the English ordinal cipher of Gematria. Again, Lucifer, 74, Jesus giving us that 74. And for those of you that are into master numbers, of course, we have Satan with the 55 and we have Christ with the 77. The 77 and 18 connection is classic, again, coming back to Judaism with that 77. All right. And this cult is all dealing with Saturn. And that's been what my work has been exposing. Of course, today is the 21st day of the 12th month. That's a mirror number, the 1221, and that 21 always comes back to Saturn. All right? We've been talking about this for quite a while on this channel. Anyways, let's keep it moving. So another thing I was thinking about is how tomorrow is an anagram date. So we have the date written as 12/22/21. You could look at it that way. Don't look at these numbers down here, but that would be the anagram. Or, sorry, the palindrome, excuse me. It would be an anagram depending on the way that you wanted to write it internationally, or you know how I'm saying. But anyways, so the point is that this date is really interesting because this leaves 9 days left in the year, and I'm going to show you right here. So tomorrow being that 12/22/2021, 9 days left in the year, and that 9 coming back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin with the ticker symbol BTC, the 9. All right. So this is something that I'm interested in because it could be a reason as to perhaps the price action we're getting over the next week, this kind of setup that we have. And there's a whole bunch more information to come, but this 9 days left in the year is interesting to me because of the setup we have in price action, how it's been kind of boring, bearish, and confusing. And that's a really good time for the market to have a trend reversal. Now, whether we reverse up or down, that's kind of, where we speculate. So anyways, this 9 connection is definitely something that I'm thinking about. BTC being 9 in the Chaldean cipher, the most pure cipher. And then one last connection for tomorrow, it will be Wednesday. And Wednesday is miércoles, or the day of Mercury, and that Mercury connection is clear as day in the code. We have Mercury giving us the 23 in Chaldean and Bitcoin giving us the 23 in Chaldean. So this will also be on the 23rd, this transition that we're having. So I'm really fascinated how these next 3 days are going to go. Of course, today being the solstice, we know that's important. Literally has the word soul in it. Let's keep it moving. So this following day, transition out of the palindrome date, moving into the 23rd, and this 23rd will be the last day of Saturnalia. And here's the gem. I actually exposed this on my Patreon probably 3 or 4 days ago, and it's because this day is the anniversary of the Federal Reserve System. And it's a very special anniversary because it will be the 108th anniversary. And those of you decoders out there, you know that 108 comes back to spiritual completion. And what makes this crazy is it's not only the 108th anniversary, but if you go from the start of Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, of course, it's a sequence of 3 days, one of which started on the 6th of September, to this day, you have it exactly 108 days. How crazy is that? So that transition going through Shemitah, starting over to this exact day of the 108th anniversary of the Federal Reserve System, is 108 days. Absolutely mind-blowing. All right. And what's so interesting about this too is this connection, which will tie into the next thing I share. It's 3 months and 17 days. This 317 is the 66th prime number, and this all transitions into Christmas Eve. So this will be the last day of Saturnalia, the transition into Christmas Eve. And this number, it's just mind-blowing, the 108 years and the 108 days. Seriously blew my mind when I found this. So now everything that's been going on lately, talking about tapering, interest rates, all this nonsense with the new variant that they're probably going to discuss today, and it's going to sway the markets. Like, don't be surprised if at around 2:30, 3 p.m. today, the market starts going crazy into the daily close for the traditional markets. This is all a setup, all right? And it has everything to do with Shemitah. And this is the big apocalypse, you know, the unveiling, the showing something that very few people have been discussing. And I've been talking about this since May. I've been exposing this on the world stage for pretty much half a year now. So we've all been prepared for chaos in the markets and shakeouts and, you know, FUD and misinformation, psyops, all of that stuff. And this is the most ritual time of year. We know that. Anyone who studies Gematria, numerology, any of that, you know that this December timeframe transitioning into the new year is always a time for massive distortion of perception, whether that be through news, whether that be through, you know, whatever's getting promoted through the algorithm to be the most seen. All of this stuff has everything to do with the perception that the masses have. And that's what the energy of the market will be. So to bring it into our local environment of cryptocurrency, we can see it. You know, fear in the market, talking about potential lockdowns, all of this stuff. This all has to deal with the way that the market gets moved. Right? And ultimately, we are able to identify this stuff way in advance because we have access to the code. And this code it's absolutely life-changing, because once you can see it, you can play around with it and start to put it next to what's happening in the charts and make sense of it for once. So this is really nice to see all of this stuff coming together, and I'm really interested with the 108th anniversary of the Federal Reserve, how this is all going to play out. So moving on, the day that this moves into will be Christmas Eve. And again, if we go from the day of Rosh Hashanah over to this day, we have the same connection. So the 3 months, 17 days, 317 is the 66th prime, and then you have the 108. But what's really special about this day is it's the 77 date numerology with 7 days left in the year. 777. So, I mean, it's gonna be a big one. This Christmas time is going to be very interesting, especially because this 108 could be perceived with the rules of numerology as 18, and this is on a Friday or Viernes, the day of Venus. So Venus giving us that 1881 connection. All right, that 18 is powerful. Again, coming back to right here. So I've been talking about this a lot, the significance of the number 18 in Judaism. It's right here. And it's the Hebrew word for life. And again, I've exposed this 18 broken down. You have 1, the connection to source, and then 8, the infinity symbol. Infinite connection to source, or just the connection to source, is what brings life. And this has to do with light, because light is frequency. Light is life. And that's why in the beginning of the Bible, they're saying God said, "Let there be light." That's literally speaking frequency into existence, which brings life. Okay, they're the same word. Even in the English language, we know we have spells, because the GHT in light, we have the word cough. And in English, the word cough, we have that GH giving us an F sound. Okay? So if we looked at the word light, LIGHT, and pronounced it with the same rules that we use for the word cough, we would literally have life again. It's amazing, the English language. The Hebrew language and the English language being like the as above, so below for each other, for people to learn the mysticism of language. It's mind-blowing stuff. But anyways, you could see that right here, that this number, you could actually continue to research further. It's absolutely fascinating. Anyone who knows anyone who's Jewish, go talk to them about this number 18 and they could fill you in a little more. But yeah, this 108 connection, again, spiritual completion, rules of numerology coming back to 18, and then Venus giving us that 18, the light bringer, and this all being on that transition date out of Saturnalia. Of course, the following day will be the day of Saturn. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I feel like this connection of this upcoming Thursday is big enough, the 108th anniversary of the Federal Reserve System, when our economy got parasited and turned into the sham that we have to deal with today. And for those of the people out there living in Turkey, Their lira is legitimately collapsing. We're watching the destabilization of fiat on the global scale. And what do you think their solution is, guys? It is a digital money. That is their solution. Create an issue in the fiat system, which they created and they knew would eventually have issues because of the whole basis of it is a scam. And then they move in with their solution. Their solution is blockchain. You heard it here. So let's move into the technical analysis. So we had Bitcoin chopping around a lot today. Of course, we do have later today this the president of the United States will be discussing how they want to handle the new variant. It's all bullshit. Anyways, so we have here on the 4-hour chart. I want to start with the shorter time frames and then move into the macro. So we had a pattern breakout. So we could see here multiple touch points of the resistance with rejections, and then we have a clear support here with about 5 touches. So this is a very strong support line. Even if we were to break below this resistance line, I would still suspect there could be held support on this line just because of how strong it's been since the dump in and of itself. Again, this massive liquidity event at this bottom wick was about 7 minutes. And then once after that, within a full, like pretty much 1 day, we got within this support line. Okay. So it's a very important support line. You could draw it on your charts to know if Bitcoin was to break down further. That's pretty much where you would expect it to go. Trend lines don't really work that much, but sometimes there's something to keep on your charts just in case. You always want to be prioritizing things. So you would want to go from things like RSI, MACD, or momentum. You also want to be considering moving averages. I use my moving averages based on Fibonacci numbers, but you could do whatever you feel works best for you. And then from there, we would move on to the tertiary, which would essentially be trend lines. So first and foremost, it's always trend. Trend is most important. And trend you identify through the price action itself. You want to be identifying higher lows, lower highs, basically just figuring out the structure. Then you could also use a Wyckoff method. Wyckoff method is my personal way of looking at the market because it's tried and true over a century of utility in this market, and it works to this day, even in cryptocurrency. So even in the most volatile asset that exists, and I've proven this before, how well Wyckoff method works. And that's what I teach in my course. I teach how to use Wyckoff method to be able to figure out structure. I consider Wyckoff method to be the market compass. And of course, if you're lost, you kind of want to know which direction you're going. So it's easier to start out learning market structure with Wyckoff, learning the distribution and accumulation, and then moving from there. So anyways, what we have here is a move up to the prior highs in the structure, which had a clean rejection. And since we've been able to get above this level of 49,500, that's kind of the level we want to start having closures above, at least on the 4-hour chart, to show that this is a true reversal. So what a reversal means is that we're starting to plant in the opposite in the structure that we were previously doing. So I'll clear this up. We have a low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and now we have a higher low. But we can't confirm this higher low until we get a higher high in the structure. So we have high, lower high, and slightly lower high. So we're coiled up in this right now, and we need resolution. And the way we get resolution would be getting above this level right here, about, let's just call it 49,600, would confirm this low right here as an official higher low. And now we would have somewhat of a trend reversal. Okay, this would mean that if we were to get up to here around 50K and maybe come back down to back test some of these levels like 47,000 and bounce from there, we would start to see multiple higher lows. This is bullish. All right. Now, in the opposite, if we were to get rejected from here, come down and then not hold this support and actually make a lower low from right here, then we're still in a noticeable downtrend. So what I'm trying to say right now is, even though we're slightly looking bullish right now, it's very short term, and don't get excited. Right now is not a time to be jumping the gun and entering big long positions on Bitcoin. You want to be playing this as a sophisticated investor right now, which is be chill. Let this week play itself out. You know that we have a 3-day weekend coming up in the stock market. This makes crypto the only game in town for 3 to, I believe, maybe even 4 trading days. I'm not sure what's going on next Monday, but you kind of want to be chilling right now as we transition into the new year. We have been seeing red in the market randomly And this is kind of the normal time frame to see that in the very last couple weeks because we have tax loss harvesting. So people that are essentially purposefully taking losses to offset taxes. But that's another story. Focusing on this in the short term, another thing I could point out is this W. So we have a W, which is typically a breakout pattern in the event that we confirm structure bullish. So this would be a bullish breakout eventually. After back testing the neckline, which would be somewhere around, you could call it 48,200, or this wick right here could have been the confirmed back test. It would be very, very, like basically perfect. So you see right here, we have the wick high, we have a breakout, then we had a back test. That could have been the official back test. We will know for certain when we get a higher high in the structure. So once Bitcoin gets above 49,500, that would be a sign of this is probably going to swipe up into around this trend line here, which would be about 53 to 54,000. So let's go to the daily chart. Actually, let's go to the 5-day because we have a 5-day closure today. I'm going to turn off all this mess and I'm just going to show you what I'm seeing. So right here, the 5-day, we've definitely looked like we definitely look like we're still in a downtrend. It's clear as day. Let me turn on actually some information so I could see we're holding the 5. That's good. The 5 fib, very important. I believe we have, yes. Okay, this is what I want to see. This is important. So right here, this white trend line is the 55 simple moving average, and this is on the 5-day. And you can see right now that we're definitely battling that as a resistance. So that 55 simple moving average is around 48,400. That would tell me that it would be nice today, by the end of today, the close, to get above this level. So basically where we're trading at now. Ideally, though, we would want to see a bullish engulfing candle, which would be slightly higher than this close. This close was 47,600. So excuse me. I meant to say the open. So that'd be 49.4. So yeah, essentially having a close tonight about 49,500 based on both forms of analysis I just showed you, the 4-hour chart and this macro 5-day chart, that would be super bullish in this event because bullish engulfing on a 5-day is not a joke. Now, we do have some bearish things. Of course, we're bearish on MACD and then also RSI below 50. So if we were to get above that close tonight at like 49.6, get that bullish engulfing candle, we would be printing that W breakout potential on the 4-hour. I'll show you the breakout target just to give you guys some more data. So we have the neckline sitting around here, and then we'll measure from the W top down to the bottom. We could be a little more liberal on this because the fact it's crypto, and it put us somewhere into, as you can see, these 200 moving averages right here. So the 200 simple, again, closures above that, and I would suspect it would be on its way to recovery because we haven't seen 4-hour closes above the 200 moving averages since the 15th of November. So again, it would be great to see closes tonight above 49,600. You could write that down. Now on the daily, we're starting to see some decent things happening. One of which, we know that this 200 simple moving average is a good support level. That's one. Two, we know that this 200 exponential, this light green moving average, is a strong resistance. So ultimately, it would be important to get above that. And now we can see that the RSI has started to flip up, still below 50, MACD in a bullish posture. Again, this is kind of short-term stuff because we still haven't confirmed a trend reversal. So let's look at the 21 exponential moving average. Okay, we got some things going on here. Let me show you without the drawings so we could really get into this data. So I'm going to zoom in, and you could see that we have a couple things going on. One of which, you see this blue moving average, that's the 13 exponential. We haven't closed above that going all the way back since pretty much the breakdown. We're talking about, again, the 15th of November. So this right here would be great. This would be a sign of, okay, we're kind of picking back up. The bulls are getting in control. This 21 exponential moving average, though, is the true level that we want to recover. And because that's squeezing together with the 200 simple or exponential moving average, again, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that would be a key level to start getting daily closes. Daily closes above that level would also be the closure highs going back to the 12th. So 50,500 would be where I start to get ready for some longs. So again, that's not advice, but what we're seeing right here is definitely something to consider for our daily close. Again, I still want to see above the 49,400 for tonight's close. That would definitely make me confident that we're ready to move up. Now, the market's going to be choppy most likely for the next 24 to 48 hours, because if whatever speech is given starts to put a lot of pressure on the DXY or gives the DXY relief and it just goes up in a straight line, which we've seen before, especially if like the Federal Reserve speaks. Again, remember, the DXY is the world reserve currency. So all it takes is some shit happening in US politics to move the entire global market. I'm sure people are aware of that now. That's why I've taught people that the time zone you want to pay attention to for the global market, crypto, everything, is New York Eastern Standard Time. That is the time of this whole market, okay? If the president of the United States gets assassinated, guess what happens to the market? It takes a shit. If the president of Dubai gets assassinated, no one cares. The market doesn't do anything, okay? So, of course, they're probably not a president in Dubai. It's probably the sheik. I don't fucking know. But the point I'm making here is that it's really critical to remember that U.S. politics runs this world because of the whole structure of this scam. We have the Vatican. We have Washington, D.C. We have the City of London. That's what's operating this trinity of power that we have on a global scale. And then from there, we have the World Economic Forum, United Nations, blah, 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 blah. They're just tentacles of the beast. So anyways, getting back on track, it would be great to see eventually closures above 50K. Any closures above 50K, and I suspect we could confirm recovery, and then we would start seeing Bitcoin getting back to the prior trading levels, probably high 50s, low 60s, I'm saying like 62, 63K, and then we would start identifying when's our bull trap, because that's another thing to consider. But for now, let's take this one step at a time, because we haven't seen any huge changes in the market for over like 2.5 weeks now. So let's recap. Closures above 49,500 would be great to see. It would show us signs of trend reversal. Closures above the 200 exponential and the 21 exponential moving average on the daily, that would be swiping us up most likely to our next level, somewhere around 53, 54K. And this will bring substantial movement to the altcoins, especially if it happens slow. If Bitcoin wants to slowly recover, it will help the altcoins. If Bitcoin just has a green candle to the sky, 10%, of course that's going to shift around dominance, and you'll see that it won't affect alts as much in the short term, but it always catches up. So again, for those of you big altcoin holders right now, if Bitcoin was to slowly downtrend, you're going to see the altcoins bleed to death. If Bitcoin just has a huge green candle, altcoins are going to take a shit, okay? So when Bitcoin's sideways and up, it's healthy for altcoins. When Bitcoin rips to the upside, it steals a lot of dominance. So that's what happens when 40% of the entire market cap is only in one asset. So let's move on to Ethereum. My downside targets would be that bottom level, somewhere around the support 50-55. If we can't hold the wick lows of December 17th and 18th, so remember what I'm saying, if we cannot hold the wick lows of December 17th and 18th, the next level that is still in play is 42 to 44K, 43K being the kind of average zone to expect, because we have those Bollinger Bands on the 2-day, etc. I showed you guys this in my last video. And then of course we have the 382 fib in the macro, 42,600. And that was pretty much where the wick swiped to on that flash crash of the eclipse. Of course, this is different on every single exchange, but I'm using the index chart right now. So this is an aggregate of all the data of all the exchanges in one place. So something to take into consideration. Holding a higher low at this point above 45,000, I would just say holding above 46K would be great. And then once we swipe above that 49.5, we would confirm a trend reversal. So let's move on to Ethereum. We'll move through these a little bit quicker because it's the Bitcoin story until we get confirmations. Okay, so I'm going to turn everything off and I'm just going to show you something very obvious, which is the bounce that we had off of this yellow trend line. So we have on the closures, not on the wicks, we have the prior all-time high going back to May. We have the Rosh Hashanah Fakeout, which came to this level here around $4,000. And then we've seen basically all of our candle closes hold this yellow trend line. I'm going to show you in the line chart. Now you can see it clear as day. Okay, so this is a key trend line. All right, backtesting this was necessary and healthy. It's a very good thing to see this happen. So I'm going to turn this back into candles. We're going to turn on some extra information and see what's going on here. We've seen so many bounces off this trend line since this dump, and that's very healthy. Now, our high in the structure that we would have to recover is around 4,115. Once we get above those highs of the 16th, then we could start calling this, a trend reversal. And that's exactly the same story with Bitcoin. We do have a noticeable, sort of downsloping resistance. This breaking would be great. These are on wicks though, so it's better to look at this from closure basis. And closure basis, we still have some room. So this could take a couple days to be figured out, especially if Bitcoin wants to have a quick move to the upside. It might take an ETH a couple extra days to catch up and start to break the pattern. But eventually, this could turn out to be somewhat of a weird inverse head and shoulders pattern for ETH. If I show you right here, it might be better to show with like a 3-day or something like that. So yeah, potential weird left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder formation in the event that we're gonna recover slightly, get rejected off of highs for the Bitcoin bull trap that I explained earlier, and then move down to the 888 fib, and then we're looking at a very good February, March, April for Ethereum in that regard. So for now, this is really nice to see. Getting above that 4,150 would be a great thing on a daily close for sure. Let's see some of our moving averages. Okay, so we could also see something similar with Bitcoin in Ethereum as well. You see this blue moving average, that's a 13 exponential. 13 exponential we're fighting with, just like Bitcoin. So recovering above that 21 exponential would also get us near that 888 fib. And that 888 fib, again, sitting around key level. It's amazing how well these charts are aligning with the moving averages. So it's funny whenever I hear about analysts who don't use moving averages, I'm like, what? Like, it's such an easy way to be able to determine what's to come in the future based off of the way that they're set up. And that's stuff, again, that I teach all the time. So let's move on to, downside target would definitely be this area right here to hold 3,800 on the closure. And if it cannot hold that, we're looking for wicks. This trend line, I'm sure, will be held unless we have a full-blown market reversal. And again, it would take Bitcoin breaking down below 44 to 43K for this to happen. So as long as Bitcoin's holding structure, ETH is most likely going to hold the $3,900, $3,800 level in the short term. And then anything for Bitcoin below 44K, that's when we would start looking for 3,600 ETH. XRP, beautiful. So we actually identified this on Trading Wolves over the weekend. I was sharing a long setup that I'm doing. Again, anyone who's on my Patreon, we have a new trading membership that we've been working through. It's really interesting stuff to see how everyone comes together and shares their charts. But I've been sharing this setup, which was a downsloping resistance line, and we've finally broken through it with a big green candle. And since then, if we look at the 4-hour, we actually did backtest it. That is very powerful. So look at this. We broke out of this trend line, came up, got rejected off of the highs, coming back to here, just like we saw with Bitcoin today. The rejection came right down to this trend line with a 4-hour close above it since it's recovered. So what do we want now? We want not only a break of this prior level, but we want to see a break of the highs in the structure, the December 9th highs. Once XRP starts getting to 94 cents, that would be a confirmed trend reversal. That'd be very good. And if we could compare that to the MACD on the 2-day, that's where we get excited. So with this structure, XRP getting above 94 cents plus 2-day MACD crossing bullish, which is potentially about to happen in a couple closures, this would show us that we've bottomed out. And that'd be very healthy, given that Bitcoin holds the levels, okay? Bitcoin breaks the levels. The first place I expect this to come down to is 80 cents again. If Bitcoin starts going below 44, then we start to see low 70 cent XRP probably come down to this trend line around 69 cents. So I'm giving you the worst case scenario right now, okay? Would be a breakdown in the short term. Most likely, though, depending on how things go leading into the first week of the new year, that's kind of like where I would start paying attention the most. But when we're around this holiday time, there's so much manipulation. It's not worth getting in your feelings. So on the daily chart, let's see where we're at with our moving averages holding above the 8 and also above that 21. So you can see another clear thing to identify is this 34 exponential moving average, giving us a little bit of problematic battle zone. Getting a close above that 91-cent level, that would be beautiful. Not only we would be recovered above the 21, but also above the 34, and that would be putting us en route to the 382, somewhere around 106. So closures above this level, and I would suspect we would take out this wick high of 94 cents and then move back to $1. And then we really want to see XRP holding $1. This is also the same stage of the bull run that XRP was in last cycle, around 2017 transitioning into 2018. It's a little bit later thus far. Like, we haven't seen a shift in dominance for XRP, but when we get that shift in dominance, that's typically when we start to anticipate the end. So if we're going to get a true extended cycle, it's actually better that we don't have a shift in XRP dominance, because that was a signal of the end of 2 runs. But particularly that last iconic bull run that ended into 2018 around early January. So I like to see this being boring and bloody and, you know, just shaking people out, retail getting frustrated. That's when I pay attention the most when I'm accumulating. And it's, again, the inverse when you want to start de-risking, when everyone's making videos talking about XRP going to $10 and shit. When that stuff starts coming out, then, again, always go the opposite, because that's madness. It has nothing to do with TA, has nothing to do with the truth. It's just pulling on people's heartstrings so that they could get clicks or whatever. So in the short term, I would love to see XRP recover above this 34 moving average. That would be in synchronicity with Bitcoin getting into the 49.5 area. So this is all in harmony right now. We are starting to recover, and because that dip was, 17, 18 days ago, it's interesting to me, especially as we move into tomorrow with that palindrome date, and then we have the 23rd being the 108th anniversary. How funny would it be if on the 23rd, the last day of Saturnalia, we see a 108 XRP? That would just seal the deal that Gematria is it's like the most insane stuff ever. So I'm not saying that will happen, but that'd be really amazing, especially because around this 108 level is the 382. It's around this downsloping resistance line, and it's also around all the trading range we had before the dump. It'd be crazy. 108 XRP on December 23rd. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would be really amazing to see it happen by the code. Again, the 108th anniversary of the Federal Reserve System, 108 days since the start of Rosh Hashanah. So downside targets would be holding support on 77 cents. Anything below that would be in the event that Bitcoin cannot hold the 44K level. But for now, we just battled with the 34, and then the next upside level would be swiping up to 106 in the event that Bitcoin can recover that 49.5 to 50K level. So with that being said, again, I do have the sale live on my Mastermind course and my Advanced Trading course. Advanced Trading course was new, came out in November, teaching how I personally do my swing trades. And then I have my Mastermind course, which teaches how I do my entire investment thesis, how I set up all of my investments, my portfolio, and how to learn how to read the charts, do technical analysis, and combine it with Gematria Numerology Astrology. So if you're interested in that, it is watersabovecrypto.com/redpill2021, and there you will have all of the discounts automatically added. And I want everyone to enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.